There we go. We are live. It is session 2 of New Agent Bootcamp 2025, and very excited today because we're already one session in, which is so cool. So if you were at the last session, you'll have to let us know. And but also, if you're a big TIQUE fan, you also have to let us know, because we were telling Robin and Jennifer we love having them on. We love TIQUE, amazing, really cool to work with, company and brand. But we were telling them this has been our very highly rated registered webinar, and I think it's all thanks to the fan club of TIQUE. Really got to say, I think you guys brought the audience, so very exciting.
Well, we're just happy to be here. Thank you guys for having us.
Yes, it's so good. And when we were putting together, we're putting together New Agent Bootcamp, where New Agent Bootcamp, again, if this is your first time joining us, it's really with new agents in mind. So we really want to carve out some space, for new advisors entering the industry, because there's so many, and we really want to help support you all. So even though, like in this session, we're not necessarily focusing on Travefy, we'll do that tomorrow. We will get into Travefy tomorrow. But today we're really focusing on industry education, because you really want to get the main things in your business. Like the last session we had was about, thinking of what is your niche, what do you want to specialize in, what are you most passionate about, and figuring that out now, and really starting to dive in. And this one is going to be, this flows very nicely, because talking about, building a scalable workflow from literally a client reaching out, or a new potential client reaching out, to after they travel, what does that look like? And when we were thinking, we're like, that's really important to have when you're first starting your business. Even if you've been in the industry for a while, always room for, refining and making it the best it can be. And so we knew we wanted to do that. And we're like, who can speak on this? We got it, TIQUE. And so I know I will formally introduce Robin and Jennifer here in just a minute, and I'll let them explain more about TIQUE if it's your first time learning. But this is going to be an amazing session. You're going to walk out with a ton of insight and lots of great stuff. But before I hand it over, I do just have a couple things that I want to point out. Is one, we are recording this. So totally get it. We're doing 7 sessions in 2 days. People are very busy, so we are recording everything. So if you end up getting, you get a call from a client or something, you have to hop off, or you can't join the next session, or you missed the last one, they are all recorded, and you'll actually be able to go find them all on the New Agent Bootcamp registration page. So if you go on there, you'll be able to see them, and we'll get them up on YouTube later this week too. So don't worry, we're going to make sure we record everything for you. But then also, we really want to keep this really community driven and active. So we have the live Q&A open, the chat. So feel free, chat away in there. Put your questions in there for Robin and Jennifer. Now, hopefully at the end, we have some time to answer some of those. We probably can't get to all of them, but Bonnie, good old Bonnie's back there. My colleague Bonnie in there, she is back there just firing away on the keyboard and making sure that there she is. There she is. You'll hear a lot from Bonnie tomorrow. Tomorrow's her big Travefy day. So today she's just helping, getting those questions in, and she'll share those so then we can ask those to Robin and Jennifer at the end. But then finally, a last thing I want to say is, during these sessions, we try to take an hour off, give you a little bit of a break in between. Go join our Facebook group. So if you go to the Travefy official Facebook group, and there you can keep the conversation going, and really get a lot of good ideas. Let us know, like, what are you getting inspired about? What are you going to start implementing? What are things that you found success in? And just get that conversation going. So we're going to keep it a really, really good time. So now, without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and allow you both. I am excited to welcome the founders of TIQUE, Jennifer Jacob and Robin Bradley. So welcome. Thank you for joining us here today. Again, this is going to be a good time. And I have to call out too, I know Robin's in Florida. So it's pretty warm, pretty like humid.
It's pretty definitely hot right now. It's like the thick of summer. So yeah, very warm.
Yeah, so very warm. And Jennifer it's actually, what is it, 8 p.m. for you in Italy?
In Italy, yes, it is 8 p.m.
I will go.
Very warm here.
Yeah, just like,
I know,
we're all melting.
I was about to say, it's so warm everywhere.
We're all melting. I know. Yeah, you'll have to let us know where everyone's at in the chat too. But I'm going to let you both take it away now, because I know there's so much to jump into. And again, don't forget, everyone, that chat, I'll get in there too and try to look for some good conversations going on. So I'll let you guys take it away from there.
Cool. Well, hello, everyone. We are so excited. Is there anything I need to do in sharing my screen? I don't know where to.
Oh, yes. Actually, you might have to share it again. Sorry, good call.
There, wait, do you see it now?
Not yet. Let's see. You might have to see, stop sharing then share.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. Okay.
There it is. Oh, yeah.
And we have another Europe visitor. Barbara's in Greece. So
Ooh.
we've got from California all the way
European
to
summers.
Europe represented here. So this is
That's awesome.
a global view. Cool.
Okay, cool. Well, hello, everyone. We are very excited and thankful for you guys taking the time out of your day to hang out with us. Special thanks to Travify. We love hanging out with you guys as well. Today, we're diving into workflows, what they are and why they matter for your travel business. By the end of the presentation, we're hoping that you'll have a very clear understanding of how workflows can streamline your operations and improve your client experience overall. So we want you to get the most out of this session. So take a second, remove those distractions, close out those extra tabs, hit do not disturb and settle in. We got some really good content for you, and we're going to get through a lot of things in a relatively short amount of time because client experience, as we will find out later, is very robust. So this is an interactive session. We encourage you guys to be engaged. So consider the chat open. Like, we have people monitoring it. We'll be checking it throughout this. And we're happy to take questions, or if we miss something or are running low on time, we'll be happy to share our contact information at the end. So you can definitely send follow-ups or anything to Jen, me, and our team. Okay. Well, if you don't know what a TIQUE is, we're TIQUE, Jen and Robin. We are TIQUE HQ. And again, if you have no idea who we are, hello. We specialize in workflow strategy and client experience for travel advisors. We know this industry so well because we came from this industry before we made the jump to starting TIQUE. I was selling 6 figures worth of travel every year while Jen built and sold a very high performing agency in just a few short years. So we have lived it. We've been exactly where you are in your shoes. And TIQUE was founded to solve a problem. Travel advisors needed systems. Many advisors are passionate about the travel aspect of this business, but lacked kind of those back-end structures to be able to scale efficiently, maintain work-life balance, and deliver a seamless client experience to the people they're booking. So since the birth of TIQUE, amidst the 2020 chaos, we've helped thousands of advisors refine their workflows and their operations and overall improve their client journey. Our podcast, TIQUE Talks, has surpassed 370,000 downloads, which is wild. And we also have a membership community called Niche, which is continuing to grow and become a very exciting community of serious business-minded advisors. So today we're going to show you how a workflow or a structured, repeatable system can be the foundation for your business's growth. So here's like just a little glimpse at what we're going to be covering today. We'll start off by talking through what exactly a client experience workflow is. There's many different terms for this. So we'll get nitty-gritty on what we're going to be talking about. Next, we'll review the life cycle of a booking from point A, where they submit the inquiry form, to point Z, when they're returning home from their incredible getaway and loving their process with you. Then we'll identify creative ways to infuse some authenticity into your project or to your process and really make it your own. And finally, we'll wrap up by talking through how a structured and enjoyable workflow will help set and enforce boundaries in your business, because no one started their travel business to be glued to their computers or their phones all hours of every single day. So hopefully by the end of this, you'll walk away with some actionable steps to implement in your travel business. So let's get started. A workflow is simply a structured series of steps you take from the moment a client inquires until they return home from their trip. So without a workflow, every client experience is inconsistent and reactive and ultimately inefficient, because you are stuck in this constant struggle of reinventing the wheel and managing every little single detail of their inquiry without any help or guidance along the way. A client experience typically involves some automations, and it's a clear path forward. So every client starts to feel because without a clear path forward, every client starts to feel like a juggling act where each client adds like another ball to a very chaotic situation. And all of a sudden you're forgetting to send wrap-up documents or travel documents or check various passport information, and it just gets all chaotic. So I promise it doesn't have to feel messy. If you're in that phase where you're like still figuring out what your client process is, we're going to help you tackle each section of that process as we go through. So we love a workflow. It ensures that you are consistent, efficient, and professional. And again, it allows you to scale while delivering exceptional service every single time. Why does this matter? A well-structured workflow, first and foremost, it allows you to create brand consistency because every client is getting the same level of high touch experience. You are able to show up intentionally and fully because the back end is already sorted out for you. You know what's happening at what time and where in the process each of your clients are. It also allows you to save time and unnecessary stress by eliminating the repetitive admin work and leaning into intentional automation that keeps the hamster wheel spinning without adding more to your plate. It also helps mitigate potential risk and legal exposure by ensuring all documentation, terms, and client agreements are in place and easy to access should you ever need them. And finally, it reduces errors because nothing gets overlooked when you are following a set process. If you listen to our podcast at all, we talk a lot about some things we have gone through as we've journeyed through the travel industry and kind of the hiccups that have led to the robust client experience that we now offer on our shop. So templates are great. So if you're like, I now understand what a workflow is. I don't understand what's included and what things I need in order to create this so-called workflow or client experience. So to build an effective workflow, you need 3 key tools. The first are what we call task lists. This is basically a checklist that ensures every booking is following the same structured steps. So step 1, they submit the client inquiry form. What happens next? Do they get a confirmation that you've received their form and they'll hear back within a certain amount of time? Are you scheduling a call with them? There's a million different ways that this can look, but the task list is what you are going to map out that takes somebody from that point A all the way to returning home. Next would be your email templates. So in those steps, you obviously want to have some pre-written emails for inquiries, proposals, confirmations, follow-ups, pre-travel touch points, post-travel touch points, confirmation. I think I said confirmations twice, but it's that important. So I'm going to say it 3 times. And so these are all pre-written for you. When I was first booking travel, I was amazed at how many times I would rewrite the same exact email, and it just like completely fries your brain in a way that makes you go crazy a little bit. So Jen and I worked together to create a bank of email templates that our agency used so that people could focus on the experience and cut back on some of that like rewriting every single time. And finally, you should have a collection of forms and agreements. So these would include your intake forms, feedback surveys, terms and conditions, payment authorizations, and so on and so forth. So those are the 3 elements of a workflow.
All right, so let's give some context to the actual life cycle of a booking because Robin and I are the first to admit that the concept of a workflow in a templated sense came from the complete lack thereof. She mentioned that when we started, we didn't have these resources, and we actually created TIQUE because we did create these resources. We use them to scale a host agency, and someone actually just asked, are you a host agency? Are you a firm? No, we are a consulting firm that has now created turnkey resources for travel advisors just like yourself because those resources simply did not exist. And the first system that we ever used was Travify. So everything that we have created literally was in conjunction with the use of Travify. And that's why we love this relationship so much, is because all of our processes completely hinged on using technology so that it could be smarter, more seamless, more easily digested by our clients. So let's actually dive into what we mean by the life cycle of a booking now that Robin gave some context of what should be included in that. We're going to talk about the how. So the first step is the inquiry and intake. The second, creating the proposal. Third, confirming the booking. Fourth, servicing the sale, and then travel and beyond. So let's actually dive into each one of these layers and talk about exactly how we recommend one, templatizing this, but also doing it in a way that creates boundaries, informs your clients, and allows you to actually have a repeatable process. And Robin's going to talk about boundaries and why those are important and how a templated workflow can enhance that. But let's start first and foremost with the inquiry and intake form. If you are starting out, you are probably getting friends, family, everyone coming to you from every portal possible, text, Facebook, Instagram, saying, hey, are you still doing that travel thing? I hear you're doing this travel thing. Can you help me with this all-inclusive? Can you help me with the cruise? Put it in the chat if you're feeling that. If you have ever had someone just casually come to you where they're asking you for something that is business, but they're casually coming to you in this very leisurely way. And it starts to diminish the value of your business completely. Okay, we're getting a lot of yeses. We're getting a lot of capital yeses. So we're not alone. You're here with me. I'm glad you're tracking this. So Robin and I struggled so much because we actually did not start with a fee structure. I'm just going to be full transparency on that. So if you're not using a fee structure, we've been there and we completely understand where you're coming from. What we realized is that if we weren't going to have a fee structure, we had to still have processes in place that showed that people coming to us were invested in working with us. So the thing that we implemented was a inquiry form. And that might sound so simple, but we don't mean just an inquiry form by the sense of a contact form. Here's your email. Where do you want to go? Submit. We started actually implementing a more thorough inquiry form that required them to sit down and take the time to complete it. And it also had some authorization points at the very bottom, like you will be given your proposal in one lump sum because you're not going to be privy to component pricing. Do you agree? Do you agree to our terms and conditions? So we were getting buy-in, and we were also requiring them to sit and think through the things that we wanted them to know before we ever got on the phone with them. And that is what a process does. It allows you to come to the table more prepared and more thorough than if you didn't have a process. And that's at every step. Okay, so I have someone asking me to raise my speaker volume, and I will just get closer for you. If anyone can't hear me, I'll shout a little bit louder. Okay, what?
I said, you sound good to me.
Okay.
Unless my speaker volume's
okay. Either way, I will work to be as loud and articulate as possible. All right. So that's requirement number one, making sure that you have an official way that people can submit their inquiry to you so that when they do come to you via text, via Facebook, you can direct them and say, yes, I'd absolutely love to work with you. Here's the form. It's the first step to get started, and it gets you into our system. And Travefy has the ability to create a form where it automatically creates that profile in the system. Then they are creating their profile. You're not having to do any duplication, and they are the ones submitting that information. So it's accurate from them, and you don't face the issue of potentially transposing that data and having errors. The next thing that we highly recommend is having a how we work guide. And this can be on your website. This could be hyperlinked on your email back to the client, but somewhere that you can point your clients where it makes it very clear how you work. So if you do have a fee structure, it might outline your service suite. If you require a form beforehand, it might say step 1, complete our form. Step 2, get on a phone call. Whatever you can do to allow your potential clients to understand how you work before you ever get on the phone is going to make sure that they are more bought into the process by the time you get on the phone. And it's also going to shorten the time that you are on the phone because they're going to know more about you before you ever get to that phone call. And what that also does is it prevents a lot of fallout. It prevents people from not showing up on your phone calls and just ghosting you. So that way you are informing them, you're educating them, and you're making sure that they're bought in. The next thing is scheduler. We are big fans of scheduler apps. So Calendly, whatever you want to use to actually schedule, you will send that link to your clients, and it might even have some additional follow-up questions. Can you reconfirm your budget? Will all parties be on this phone call? So that you know that when you get on that call, you have the Calendly where they have self-selected that time. You don't have to go back and forth via email and say, when are you available, and waste your precious time. They're in control and they have autonomy. And you are able to then reference both their inquiry form and their Calendly questions before you ever get on that call. That allows you to jump on a call with a supplier if you don't know the destination and educate yourself. Watch a YouTube video about it, talk with colleagues, be more prepared, allow yourself to create an agenda for the call and any follow-up questions that you might have about budget. Just the more you can do to go into that call prepared is going to reiterate that you are a business and you are bringing value to the table. All right. And yeah, I just touched on it, but creating a structured call agenda. I am a big fan of actually looking at the inquiry form and writing out an agenda with any clarifying questions so you go in prepared. All right. It looks like there's a lot of questions. So Stephanie, should I pause there and look real quickly?
No, I know. I was like, I do love, someone said, what's a V structure? But it's fee structure.
Fee structure.
So we should.
Are we recommending a fee structure? Okay, a fee structure is when you require someone to pay a planning fee prior to providing them with a proposal. It is actually ASTA's best practice now too. So we are going to support that. They're our lobbying arm and we are big ASTA fans. So yes, we do recommend having a fee structure in place. And I'm just going to give a personal anecdote, and it's pretty vulnerable, but we didn't have fee structures in place. COVID happened and Robin and I lost an entire year's worth of work. I have goosebumps because like, I know what that felt like financially to me. It was completely diabolical. And as we know, it's not like people just started booking again. So therefore we had to wait in another year before people started booking again. And you don't get paid until people travel. So then that's pushing it out 2.5 years. So because we didn't have these structures in place, because people weren't paying for our time, and frankly, we weren't valuing our time, we were financially destroyed when it comes to the business. And fortunately, we were able to keep that business up and running and retain the advisors by keeping morale high and continuing education and using that time to really develop tools like this. But if you are not inputting a fee structure, you are going to struggle with seasonality. You are going to struggle with actually replacing an entire income, and you're really at risk of something globally happening like COVID that could potentially destroy your financial stability. So that is a whole session in itself. I won't go down that rabbit hole, but I wanted to just like get on the soapbox. Anything to add to that, Robin?
No, but the one thing to consider is travel. When you're booking travel, it's very like work heavy on the front end. Like, of course, you're still servicing the sale and you're getting people ready to book and you're there if they have questions on their trip and yada, yada, yada. But what you're doing a lot of the work prior to the travel. So it's weird because the commissions come in post travel. So it was like we had spun our wheels and worked so hard to get our commissions up and get these trips booked. And then everything was like, all the work was just not accounted for. So I think people sometimes forget that aspect of it. Like a lot of what we're doing is on the front end, and then the back end is just servicing and making sure the trip is unforgettable. So
I think there are a lot of people in the chat that are questioning their value and they're questioning if people will pay. And I am here to tell you that
right people will.
The right people will, and the wrong people will not. And the wrong people are the ones that are going to burn you. They're going to push back. They're going to pick apart every proposal. And it takes you getting burned to really appreciate that. And there have been a lot of people that in retrospect were like, oh man, I see it now. But I will say it's a very hard lesson to learn. And we started this business so that people didn't have to learn the hard way. we do have episodes of our podcast that are about implementing fee structure, how to do it and why. So I would point you to that resource rather than us derailing. So, okay, I'm going to continue on because otherwise, no, you're good.
Sorry.
Nope, you're good. Go back to the one you were just on. I'm sorry. Okay, now we're going to jump to creating the proposal. And this is where Travefy's magic comes into place. We were big fans of using Classic Vacations, which seamlessly integrated. You would just bring in the itinerary number and it brought in the whole itinerary. Then we would add beautiful images and it just made us look like rock stars. And this is where we really found the differentiation. So if you're ever questioning your value, you have to think, you're the one that has the resources to find the best possible trip ideas for these clients. You're the ones that are going to destination management companies or wholesalers, and you're getting this seamless package provided to them where they don't have to think. And then you're presenting it in this beautiful way that excites them and allows them to not be stressed about the trip, but actually look forward to it. So what do you include in that proposal? First, I want to say, like we said, we're only sending a proposal after we collect a planning fee. And you are working with your trusted suppliers that you know are going to go to bat for you if anything goes wrong, that are going to have 24/7 support for you. And you're going to use the discernment and your resources to make sure that you are finding the best possible solution for the client. And that's where your value comes into play. I don't want to go on a tangent, but I will just say that finding the best suppliers is worth your weight in gold alone. I had a client who went to Croatia. They had a passport debacle, as clients do. They didn't realize they needed that 6 months past their return date. So the mom ended up having to join the family later. And by later, I mean the connection in Amsterdam, and she was supposed to fly with the rest of the family. Well, the passport took too long in Miami. She had to catch a later flight. She ended up missing the ferry to their island in Portugal. I had fortunately worked with a trusted destination management company that all she had to do was call their emergency line, and they said, we can get you a private boat to your family tonight. Otherwise, she would have had to stay in a hotel. She would have had to find the hotel herself. So working with trusted suppliers before you ever get to the creation of the proposal is an art in itself. And I recommend working with your host agencies to really understand what those relationships looks like so you can find the best possible suppliers for your type of travel. All right. So creating the proposal, you're going to include all the details in that email. So you're going to include cost, and that's going to be your marked up cost. If you are working with a supplier that includes commissions, that's great. You want to make sure you're including the currency so that you don't get any ambiguity there. Right now, if you were to quote something in euro, if you were to get a quote in euro, but you put a $ in front of it, they would be very upset when you actually had that charge go through. You want to make sure that you are including the inclusion. So Robin and I have learned through so many situations to itemize everything. This includes this. This includes a 3-night stay in a sea view room at Casa Angelina with breakfast included. This does not include meals outside of what is defined, taxis in between destinations. We got so kind of sillily granular with it.
I think we literally said does not include souvenirs at one point.
I would said that.
Yeah.
Does not include souvenirs, does not include passport or visa fees. But I come from HR. Robin comes from sales. So we've got both the HR component, the contract component. We know that if it's not written, it doesn't mean anything. And people assume so much, especially if they've never worked with a travel advisor before. So highly recommend getting as granular as possible. And we have a resource at the end that's going to help this all come together, I promise you. But one thing is to verify commission amounts before you send a proposal ever, because we have also sent through proposals without the commission added. And that's just the most traumatic thing you can possibly go through. Use attractive imagery, make sure it is on brand, and make sure you're using the right imagery. You don't want to include a sea view balcony room view that automatically loads through the website if they are going to have an interior view. So you do need to make sure you're using attractive imagery, but not anything misleading, because that could lead you to some disgruntled clients. And then lastly, you need to portray your proposal with passion. So our resource at the end is actually going to give you a proposal template email that you can use inside your Travefy platform. But what you need to do is you need to utilize Loom. Potentially, we're big fans. I say we need to, or you need to, because we believe in it so much. Loom is, if you don't know what Loom is, it is essentially like a Zoom, but without anyone on the other end. It's you walking through the itinerary without anyone on the screen. It's just you recording the screen and talking through it. And the reason we love this is, one, it saves time. It saves time from you coordinating a call with your client. Two, it's going to be shorter because there's going to be less back and forth banter. And three, you can do it at 10 p.m. If you have it, can anyone put it in the chat? If you are a new advisor, do you have another job right now? I want to hear from like the people that are transitioning. Yes, yes, yes. I knew I was going to get that response, and that's why I say it. If you have another job, Loom is your best friend. Robin and I both started this business while not being full-time, while working within our other separate lives. She was living in a different time zone than a lot of her clients. I was working a full-time job during the day and acting like travel was my full-time job so my clients would believe in me. So if you are trying to make this appear like it's your full-time job, you need to really employ all of the tools and resources to make yourself look so legitimate, so that that transition to full-time is travel as a full-time career is very seamless. And Loom is one of those things that you can do at 10 p.m. at night and no one will ever know it, because you can schedule it to go out the next morning. And you can, schedule your Travefy email to go out, and you can hyperlink the Loom inside of the itinerary platform. So that's where we would recommend utilizing the Loom hyperlink. Is you're just going to create an outline for yourself and walk through that itinerary just like you would in a very passionate way. You're going to explain the why. If you chose one hotel because it was a functional city stop and you didn't think they needed to blow their entire budget there, tell them that. Tell them why you picked that hotel specifically for them. Use reflective language from that intake call and tell them exactly why the tour was picked for them. You're going to get so fewer questions about your selections if you actually articulate the why behind everything. And this does not have to be a 30-minute video. This can be I do recommend upgrading to give yourself at least the 10-minute window. We have one very, very successful advisor who she's sticking to the 5-minute cap on Loom. I think Canva even has a video capture now, but just being able to say something in your voice in a passionate way and explain it is going to translate so much better. You are going to close faster and at a higher ticket value, because you can recommend upgrades, upsells. You can just be human to them rather than just sending an email. So I'm going to pause there. Robin, anything to add on that? Because I just went on a tangent specifically on.
No, I don't think so, because I'll go on a tangent too.
All right. So we actually have an entire masterclass on proposals alone. That's how passionate we are about getting it right. It's such a science, and it is definitely part of the sales process. So we also have a podcast on Loom if you want to hear that. That's a complimentary resource. And I saw someone that they hate video. Let me tell you something. I never used my video. I always put my logo and I just use my voice. I found the video personally distracting. And don't overthink it. Just act like you're on a phone call with your client and pop on and be like, hey, I hope you're having a great day. I'm just going to walk you through this itinerary. Don't re-record it. Don't overanalyze it. Just act like you're on a phone call. You can hide your face and put a logo if you want. Just be human. People join people, and people are looking for that real connection. Otherwise, they would be booking on Expedia. Trust yourself. All right. Okay, so confirming the booking. Here is where we find using a platform like Travefy so important. The ability to send an invoice with terms and conditions and to capture a signature is imperative to the security of your livelihood and your business. We have heard horror stories of advisors getting chargebacks for hundreds, yes, I said hundreds of thousands of dollars. We have heard of advisors getting challenged with lawsuits, and they have nothing to stand on because they have never had someone sign something saying that the liability is not there. So you definitely need solid terms and conditions. If you do not have solid terms and conditions provided by your host agency, there is a lawyer called Tom Carpenter who's fantastic. We have worked with the legal page to create a templated contract that you can edit and then have your lawyer review it. So highly recommend making sure that your terms and conditions are turnkey and good to secure your business. As we mentioned, we are also big proponents of outlining each item. So your invoice should outline everything that is included and also everything that's not included. Get it in writing, get that digital timestamp of when they signed something so that you have in black and white that they've agreed to something and then they've agreed to not having something, those not included. The next thing that we are big fans of is the booking confirmation email. Attach the receipt. Don't just rely on, I love that Travefy has this very like live system, but the one thing that we got pushback on sometimes is you can change a link. So the highest recommendation we can say is like, once you get a receipt, actually save that as a PDF and then upload it to the information and documents section of your Travefy so that you do have a black and white timestamped item. Then include a things to do section for your clients, whether it's in the email or in the actual Travefy information and documents section. But that things to do should be like, verify your passport. This is how much time you need to enter this country. Make sure you have your driver's license. If you're going to Greece and you need a driver's license in Greece, you need to go to AAA. So just because you are an advisor does not mean that you need to take the onus of every single thing. It is a mutual relationship. They need to buy in and they need to also follow your recommendations so that they can have the smoothest trip. And frankly, you can't be responsible for everything. If they need a visa, they got to get the visa. If they need a vaccine, they need to get the vaccine. You can't do everything for them, but you do need to empower them and guide them. All right, Stephanie said, hot tip, Travefy is PCI compliant, so you can set up your credit card authorizations. Robin and I recommend using and maxing out your platforms to do everything. If you can do a workflow and you can do your credit card authorizations and you can create your itinerary, max out every functionality in Travefy. Get to know your platform. Don't think, okay, like I need to do this here and this here. If you have Travefy, you have so many things at your fingertips, and itinerary is just the tip of the iceberg. So really get to know the functionality and the massive, massive, massive capabilities they're rolling out and will be rolling out even more. Okay, so a what to expect section. We also are big fans of saying what you should expect from us. So what the advisor needs to do and what the client needs to do. There are two parties involved in this, and the what to expect section should say when they're going to hear from you and what they can expect at that timeline. And that is the power of a repeatable and referral worthy life cycle of a booking. When people know that they're going to expect to hear from you at 90 days, at 45 days, at 30 days, at 7 days before their trip, 24 hours before, you can beat that inbox overwhelm because they can rest easy. They don't have to think, oh my gosh, are they going to reach out to me? What's going on with my trip? Are they going to let me know that I need to make my dinner reservations? Having a workflow is about being proactive, and part of being proactive is educating your clients on when they can expect to hear from you so that you don't get bombarded all the time with questions on when they're going to hear from you. And then of course, add fun imagery, because part of working through an advisor is that they're excited. They are excited. They want to be excited about going on the trip. And half the fun of traveling is the anticipation. So make it fun for them. That's really, really, really important. Okay. I'm going to pause there for 1 second and just read, right, make sure I'm not missing anything. I think we're okay.
Good.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. I'm going to keep on going and I'll come back to it. But All right, servicing the sale. So this is kind of, I was just leading to this, but example nurture points, and all of these are in our workflow. And like I said, I'm going to give Robin all the credit here. Robin was the original just founder of the workflow itself. She is such a guru at working smarter, not harder. And we were copying and pasting emails from our sent box time and time again. And we signed up for a proper CRM. And she's like, we don't have to be doing this every time. We could reduce our errors. We could have templates. We can send things on a scheduled basis. And that is what platforms like Travify are so good at, is being able to schedule. And I know there are even more updates coming out, but being able to schedule automations, task lists, etc. Lean into those functionalities. So create different task lists for long versus short trips. So if you've got a cruise and they're leaving in 2 years, your timelines might be different. If they're doing a quick turnaround and they're leaving in 90 days, your timelines might be different. Don't overthink that right now. If you don't have any workflow, just start with bare bones. Start with, you've got your inquiry, you've got your proposal, you're leading them through the confirmation. Then you've got a 90-day touch point, a 45-day touch point, a 24-hour touch point. We highly recommend having these in conjunction with forms so that you're gathering information along the way as well. So at 90 days, potentially, do you want any dinner reservations? So you can get ahead of those. Do you want any spa bookings if you offer that kind of concierge level service? So proactively foreseeing their needs so that they don't have to ask you. When people feel taken care of and they feel like they're in control of those decisions, their stress level is going to lower. You're going to have much happier clients and so many more referrals. Lastly, wrap-up documents. This is so important. We love a Loom walkthrough. We're going to say it again. This is where we sit down with Travify and we walk through every stage of the trip. In fact, we would actually go to the important documents section first. And that's where we would attach insurance. And we would say, here's where I've attached your insurance policy. This is the first place you're going to go if there's an emergency. Second, here's your emergency contact section. This is where you're going to go in case of an emergency. And if it's Classic Vacations, it's their number first, your number second. So having the ability to compartmentalize each of these pieces of information like Travify has laid out for you is so important. And you can send those wrap-up documents attached in your Travify itinerary. So you're going to include also a Loom video walkthrough so that they can know how to prepare for their trip. This isn't just about the proposal anymore. It's actually telling them what to expect. If you know tips about boarding a train, infuse them there. If you know something about the destination, that'll help them get excited, share it there. But also, I think one thing that's really important is covering the boring stuff first and making sure they know how to download their app. So those things are things that I would always cover first, is the boring stuff first: insurance, emergency point of contact, downloading the app, understanding how to message within the app with you, and then going into the exciting things. If you do the exciting things first, you're going to lose them at the end. They're never going to listen to the insurance. They're not going to download the app. So providing a what to do when guide is the other thing we recommend. And that is a section that is like, if your flight is canceled, this is what you do. If your flight is delayed and you know you're going to miss your connection, this is what you do. And that can be either a document that you attach to the important document section in Travify, or it can actually be you could actually just type it out and have that templatized in your library that you upload that every time as well, and just have the body of the copy of that. And then lastly, if you want to retain high touch, especially if they're a high value client, including the option to do a wrap-up call. We always recommend offering an intake call because that's really important for you to truly understand what they need. A lot of people don't put what they really want in the form. And then a wrap-up scheduler call. And we will tell you that most people, if you do the Loom walkthrough, the wrap-up walkthrough, if you are currently scheduling wrap-up calls before travel, you will probably drop to about a quarter of those calls being scheduled if you're using Loom and you're going thoroughly through it. And that's going to save you so much more time and allow you to scale your business. And this is where the title of this presentation all comes into play, is you need to be able to scale your business. You need to be able to put these things that allow you to work smarter, not harder, in place so that you can actually service more people at a higher quality. Anything else? Okay, we're good.
Questions?
We've got some questions about ChatGPT. Do we use this? I love ChatGPT, but I use it for very different things. A lot of the time it's like pushback scripts. We don't use them for our templates because there are certain lessons that we've learned that truly cannot be modeled with the unknown. And then does a sample script or outline, do you have a sample script or outline for the Loom walkthrough? We actually do in our Profitable Proposals masterclass, but not as a complimentary resource. And then we've got some questions on planning fees. So we're going to continue on.
Cool.
And I will also look in the Q&A because those just racked up. All right. This is my last thing here. So Travel and Beyond, we always recommend an automated arrival email. However, I don't know how to say this. We do not recommend texting. It's a waterfall effect. As soon as you text and they've landed, if they've lost luggage, if they're disgruntled because their flight was delayed, if they're just jet lagged and tired, you're never going to get their best self in that time period. So an automated arrival email after people have had a chance to rest is so lovely, but catching them right when they've landed, you're going to get their worst self potentially, but you're also going to open the floodgates to communication for the rest of the trip. And that's just not what we all want to do. An automated email allows you to say, we just want to make sure things are going well. Remember, if you have any dining changes, anything like that, please see your concierge. If you have any emergencies, here's your point of contact. So directing them to the right place. If you have VIP clients, not every client is a VIP. If you truly have a VIP client and they are so important to you, we highly recommend making sure that your hotel is aware that they're coming, that their room type, their dates they're arriving. We always send a confirmation email. Even if it wasn't a VIP email, we always send an email confirmation to the hotel saying, my guests will be arriving. I'm part of this consortia. Here's my host agency. This is their room category and their dates, and they'll be arriving at this time. That allows the hotel to do their job. The hotel's job that they want to do is give the client the best possible experience, and the best possible experience allows the hotel to be prepared when your client arrives. And then a welcome home email, and that's when you want to enthusiastically welcome them home. Again, probably on the second or third day, because you're not going to get someone's best self if they've been delayed on the way home, if they lost luggage on the way home. So you don't want to send a, can you fill out my client experience survey when someone is jet lagged and recovering. Let them do their laundry, let them get a good sleep, and then send that survey and be incredibly gracious that we're allowed to play a part in their memories and be sincere about it. So, all right. Whew. There are 12 questions in the chat. So let's see here.
I was about to say, I cannot monitor a chat and present it like a week out. So let me know.
You're okay. So we have a question. Are you getting a copy of this presentation? There will be a recording, not a copy of the presentation. And there is a question about not getting leads yet. So we can tackle that if we have time, just like as you're starting out, getting leads and promoting yourself. Then we have a question on programs forms. Does it integrate into Travify? Yes, we have a Travify version that integrates with our functionality, and it comes with share codes that you can automatically sync into your account. So easy. And how is your fee structure set up? So this varies for everyone, and I'm just going to give you the most ambiguous canned answer. It is not a one size fits all. This depends on your quality of life, where you live, how much you need to live. It should not be based subjectively on the travel advisor next to you. It should be a mathematical approach. You should know how much you need to make ends meet. You should be putting an hourly value on your time, and you should know about how many hours it takes you to service an entire trip, and it should be calculated that way. We actually have a course called 7-Figure Sales that is the most robust course that literally gives you a roadmap to create that mathematical equation. But we highly recommend having a tiered service suite where people can choose the level that they want to invest in, but it should always be based off of your quality of life. That's going to be a lot of those.
I have one that I'll throw in that I saw a couple people ask about is, do
Okay.
you do response or surveys like after they travel, like feedback surveys?
Yes, in the welcome home email, we do. So, and that is a recommendation in our workflow as well, that we have the Travify version of. So yes, we highly recommend capturing. And something that we're completely transparent on is Robin and I think I can speak for Robin when I say this, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that we wish we'd hopped on the phone and actually gotten a little bit more insight on what, especially for like the multi-leg FITs, maybe not an all-inclusive, that's like a very simple itinerary, but if someone had a really complex itinerary, getting on the phone and understanding like what they loved and what they didn't love, because you're going to get so much better information by taking 30 minutes and closing the loop with someone that has like entrusted you with so much of their money and time on a phone call than you're ever going to get in a form. Okay. I hope that answered that. How do you have a general terms and conditions if different states have different laws? It actually gives, it's a general USA, but that's why we always recommend having your local council review it just to make sure. But we have not run into any issues just yet. It's actually the legal page version is for USA and Canada. And then do you have any templates for what to expect session for advisors and clients? Yes, it's actually going to be in our resource we're going to give you in a minute. When are you recommending to send the terms and conditions with the inquiry form or after the initial call with the planning fee? Yes, yes, and yes. We highly recommend hyperlinking it on your website so that people can see that, and then asking them, do they agree to your terms and conditions on that inquiry form? And then we also recommend having that when they submit their planning fee, although you might have a slightly different agreement for the planning fee just because they're getting something different. And then the actual supplier submission for the credit card authorization that Stephanie was referring to, that's when you really need the robust limitation of liability, beefy client agreement to make sure they know that the airline regulations are not your fault. If they do a seat change, it's their fault. And that's when, before they ever submit a deposit for the trip, you need to have that in writing. I want to be conscientious of time. When calling the hotel, do we call the reservations line or should we call another number specifically? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I think you might mean for booking. We usually always used a digital platform for booking, like Classic Vacations or Tablet, or working with the DMC where they handled that. And if you have not worked with a DMC yet, which many of us didn't when we first started out, I highly recommend getting to know what a DMC is. They are destination management companies that can give really granular experiences in those destinations. There we go. Jenny.
Yep. What's it?
There we go. I knew it.
So many acronyms in the travel industry.
So many. And there's a podcast on that too. So listen to the podcast on DMCs. And there's a lot of terms and conditions one. I don't want to get too legal here because I am not a lawyer. I cannot give legal advice. But I defer all of those questions to the legal page. And okay, are you sending what supplier sends as proposal or taking the info and spending the time to build it into Travify? Always building it into Travify and putting your own branding identity on it and owning. This is where we really do use ChatGPT actually. If you're not loving the description of something or you need a more robust description of a hotel or anything like that, that's where we would type in ChatGPT, like make a floral description of this property for a sales proposal, and then bringing the imagery there. That way you're in control of what's presented.
Oh, I like the floral. I like it. It's those keywords. That's a good one. I have to try that one. I like
that. Okay. Then in response to you speaking on the VIP clients to let the hotel know the VIP is coming. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying, Angela. She was saying, how do you reach out to the hotel to let that client know? We always would set, this is where trade shows, relationships, rep companies are so important, is reaching out to the sales representative or the GM and finding it either on the website or LinkedIn or through colleagues, where you actually reach out and you send them an email giving them all of this information in writing so they can forward it to the appropriate person. Then we have, of course, a question about our template packages, which we are happy to give more insight on if you reach out to us. That's not what we're necessarily here for today, but we will give you a taste of that. So Robin, I'm gonna hand it over to you so that we can wrap this party up.
Cool. So we obviously just went through the whole life cycle of a booking. And now when me and Jen first started, like we mentioned, it was our life cycle, our like client experience was like 11 emails, 4 forms. It was the bare bones. And until we sat down and got intentional and like infused our brand and our identity and who we want to go after into our client experience, and now it's 40 emails. I don't even know how many forms we have. Like we really sat down and looked at everything.
16 forms. And
16 forms.
Yeah. It's all case scenarios that you could need. Yes.
It's very comprehensive. So we're very, very passionate about your client experience and your brand being synonymous with one another. That's why your workflow should always be tailored to you and your business. I think a lot of people, especially now in the world of AI, they're like, oh, I'll just get ChatGPT to make me a workflow. It's going to give you the bare bones because it doesn't know what it doesn't know. And until you have like those templated like situations and you're going through things, you really can't build. So your workflow should, again, truly reflect your brand, its style, its voice, and the client and the trips you're taking. So customizing these email templates and the client touch points, it keeps your experience personal and consistent, because if your brand it's bright and it's colorful and it's fun, but then you show up in my inbox sounding like a buttoned up lawyer, you are creating misalignment in your brand, which results in a lack of trust for clients. It's like when somebody looks one way online and then you meet them in person and they're super dull and you're like, it's off-putting. So the goal is for your target audience to fall head over heels in love with your unique brand, that we foster the loyalty to keep them coming back time and time again, because it costs about 20 times, I think it's 20 times more to find a new client than it does to retain them. Like retention, if you're going to be a successful, scalable travel advisor, retention is the name of the game, and the client experience is what is going to like really get them on the hook to want to be booking with you every single time. So some things that you want to consider: is your inquiry a seamless process that aligns with your dream client's needs? Is your intake call style and duration applicable to your target audience? Are you going after like the busy, high level CEO types who don't have time to sit down for 45 minutes and chit chat with you about their dream vacation? Or, are you going after the stay-at-home moms who are dealing with chaotic soccer schedules all over the place? Like you really have to look at all of these aspects that we're mentioning and make sure that your audience is aligning with them. Is your tone and formality important? That is so crucial for me. I can't get over how, again, off-putting and awkward it is when you see one thing and you write and speak a different way. It's just strange. Are boundaries going to be a point of education for your client, or are they going to be a point of contention? Like, are they going to really push back against them? Is your process easy to understand? Like, are you actually anticipating and explaining why you're doing things the way you're doing in a way that your audience is going to not only actually understand, but like appreciate? Is your client needing emails or phone interaction, or are they the video content type? And then what level of support do your clients require? When I was selling travel, my audience was primarily honeymooners, and I had a real problem getting them on the phone, which is a millennial thing, I think, to an extent. So something I did was include a sentence in my email they got after submitting their inquiry form, acknowledging that juggling a wedding while being a normal human and having a social life and showing up for your job it's hard. So taking time out of their day for like a quick phone call might not feel great. And if that was true for them, I had other ways to go about getting the information I needed in order to be the best travel partner possible to them. So I was able to make that pivot because I knew my client. I saw that part of my process where people were falling off. And instead of saying, well, it is what it is, like, if you don't like it, then kick rocks, I adjusted. And I think that's where you can really see a difference in the seasoned travel advisors who basically don't have to do marketing anymore because their client list is so loyal to them, and the ones who sell a lot of like one and done style trips. So truly, if you are to build this on your own, the first step in my eyes is getting really crystal clear on who you are selling travel to and building that like wow worthy experience around them, while also understanding you have boundaries to maintain. Any questions on there, Jen?
Think we're actually good. Keep it going. I think we're good. I'm
Okay.
tackling some questions in the chat. You're good to go.
Okay. Amazing. So on the topic of boundaries, if you've ever listened to our podcast or heard me and Jen speak previously, boundaries are the name of the game for us. We are both new moms, so boundaries are unnecessary. And we believe that travel advisors deserve balance in their lives, which, comes as a result of boundaries, because your business should never feel like a sweatshop. I think the word boundaries can sometimes make newer advisors feel funny because you're hungry to build that book of business, you want more clients. But over the years, we've seen that boundaries don't push your right clients away. They establish credibility and professionalism and actually attract the right people to you in a much more seamless way. It's one of our pet peeves with this industry that travel advisors often feel pressure to be available all the time. But true professionals, they limit the access to themselves and monetize their expertise. So I would never text my lawyer at 1 a.m. and expect an answer back, like ever. Now, of course, travel emergencies and hiccups rarely happen Monday through Friday during the convenient hours of 9 to 5. So our world is different, but if you send your clients off on a trip with all of the information and all of the contacts they need to be able to handle anything that travel gods can throw at them, you are positioning yourself as a true industry expert because I've been here, I've done this, and you're showing them that you are not Expedia, you are a human, like you have hours of operating. So a structured workflow creates those clear expectations, and it eliminates the feeling of being on call 24/7. These are key in creating credibility as a professional, creating clarity, and providing you with a lifestyle you want to have. Because the worst feeling in the world is waking up, and Jen and I experienced this ourselves. You wake up one day and you're like, this isn't what I wanted when I started my business. This lifestyle of getting panicked at 6 o'clock at night as I'm sitting down to dinner with my husband because I have to go run to my inbox and answer this client question that's like so clearly something I could have defined somewhere. I mean, it was just hard. And then tackling anything else onto that, it's too much. So we want the clients to understand how and when you communicate, what is included with your services, and when and how they should be reaching out to you. Because ultimately, boundaries, they make your process clear. And we heard a saying back when we were presenting at a convention in Cancun, that clear is kind. And I think me and Jen really internalized that boundaries and communicating your boundaries doesn't have to be awkward. It can just be kind in a way. Because then it leads to like that ultimate, you're like angry at them because they don't know your boundaries. You didn't communicate them well enough. So you have this weird like ooh about your clients, and that's an icky relationship. It makes you not as good of an advisor. It made me not as good of an advisor, at least when I had like that, even like a slight like ugh towards a client, because they're not going to read my mind on how I operate and when I operate. So okay, cool. I think that's it. I'm happy to share our most downloaded resource with you. These are our 5 free workflow email templates. They're directly from our client communication templates, and they include the emails you need. Jen, I think it's a booking confirmation email.
We have the like initial inquiry, the scheduler, the proposal, booking confirmation, and your wrap-up document email. So
Yeah.
this is like, yeah, it's a five top heavy hitters emails.
So QR code, I believe we also have a URL that we are happy to share with you guys as well. But
I
So
did
good.
just get a question, Robin. You're going to chuckle at this. We just got a question that said, is there something you wish you would have known before you got started in your business?
That's a good one.
that is still to this day, after we've recorded over 100 podcast episodes, that's still what we would have done part 1 and part 2. Jen, I don't know the number of the podcast, but it isn't. It's what we would have done different if we started over today. And it's what Jen would have done different and what I would have done different in our business. And you'll be surprised at how different our answers are for each of the things. So I think it's a really good listen. If you want to like basically sit down with me and Jen on what feels like a little business chat. We
I
also
think
just
it's
did
episode
a whole,
42 and 43. I think it's episode 42 and 43. It's like pretty early on.
that was a
But
good
it's pretty raw and candid too.
very.
Like the raw and kid. Your podcast has everything. It is amazing. I feel
Yeah.
like everything I was looking at it too. We shared it in the chat. So anybody, if you can find the link in there. But I realized that you had like a episode for every single one of those stages.
I was just about to say, we
Amazing.
literally
Yeah.
just wrapped up our client experience series where
Yeah.
Jen and I go into depth on each of the lifestyle of booking sections a lot more. So if this resonated at all, or you're like, give me more information, that's a perfect place to start, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Oh my gosh, you guys are so much. I also love how every time fees, it'll always get you. I'm like, we should just have a whole webinar on that every single time we do anything that's going to touch it because it's a big one. It's so big, especially starting out and trying to get your flow down and respect the boundaries, respect the time. And that's just such a good way to do that. So go check out that podcast episode in there too as well.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. Is there anything else that I know there's a lot of questions still. So where can they go find you to keep this conversation going with you, or can they reach out to you?
Yeah. So obviously you can find us on the podcast and hear a lot about our philosophy and hear about guests. You can also go to www.tiquehq.com and then right down at the bottom of that slide that is on the screen right now is hello@tiquehq.com. So if you have a question for us that we did not address today, we are happy to tackle that for you, and you will absolutely get a response from our team quite quickly. We're pretty prompt in responding. So please reach out to us. If you have any questions about inclusions, I am known to send a Loom video of a little glimpse of our products. So if there is something that you're like, hey, can I just see a sneak peek before I invest? We understand, especially at the beginning of your career, that the funds are limited. You might not be getting those commissions yet. You don't have the resources to invest, and you want to make sure every dollar stretches. I will tell you this. I will hands down tell you that I was making very expensive mistakes before I had a templated workflow. I was losing so much money from my own mistakes because I was just working too fast to keep up. I was not making as much money as I could because I wasn't implementing process and looking professional. So to me, a one-time purchase of any business resource that allows you to work smarter and not harder is always a good investment. So if you have questions about it, we value how hard you're working, and we are happy to share any insight to make any decision that you might need on any of our products. So.
That's awesome. That's why you guys rock. We love you Yeah, it's so good. It's so good because and again, that is literally the theme. I'll say it again, is just the community in the travel industry is so amazing. And you find, like Jennifer and Robin, you made your mistakes. So that's literally how this company came to be and how this brand, and you're trying to help. So this is just incredible. I know we could be on here for hours. We could just go through so many things. It is so awesome. So go head over to new TIQUE Talk podcast. And I know our CEO David was actually on one episode previously before too. So they have everything. It's just really cool. And on that, I actually have a couple things to share really quick. I am going to share my screen. Oh, geez, that's not correct. There we go. I should learn my lesson to keep that on there. Zoom technology. One thing I wanted to, okay, just a couple things. I'll make this quick. One thing, so Jennifer was just talking about this with, making those investments up front can be kind of scary, and there could be mistakes being made because things, like everything costs money. And so one thing at Travify that we have done to try to help this, we totally get that. So just a few months ago, we actually, announced our new travel agent program, where it's essentially where you can subscribe to Travify just like anyone else would. But if you are 12 months or newer into the industry, under a year in, we actually can get you in for $25 a month. So we give you a discounted rate, but not just that, we're also going to help you kickstart your business by helping you set up domain, email, so that way you can use Travify for your website, for your email will have its email. It's all, everything they were talking about, it's like all in there. You can get those forms, those PCI compliant forms. So you'll truly get all those tools that you need just to, again, look like a pro from day one. So Bonnie will put those, Bonnie, shout out if you could put the link in the background. Sorry, I have her, she's working hard back there, sending out all those links into the chat. But in there though, you'll be able to actually go ahead and just start a free trial. So go into Travify if you're not a user. And then with this link that Bonnie's posting right now, you actually can go ahead, and if you do qualify for that, or if you wonder if you qualify, just fill out a form and then our team will get in touch with you, and all that good stuff. So it'll be, it's really a great opportunity just to kind of get started. And again, just kind of help you out with those upfront investments that you're making to create and streamline your business in there too. But then the last thing that I want to say too is the next session coming up, this is going to go flow really nicely again because we're going to have a panel after this. This is our final session. That's like industry education, where we're just bringing on some more thought leaders from the industry, like Robin and Jennifer. I mean, like, we could talk to you. We love talking to you, but it's really talking to like them. Like, it's like, look how much you've learned in this session. So this next session is going to be more of a panel. It's just going to be a conversation. So bring some of those questions with you in this next one. And we will ask our experts. We have a supplier, host agency. We even have David, who's our CEO here at Travify. And then we have Alvin, who's from Asta as well. So we have a lot of different people throughout the industry joining us. And we're going to talk about all different kinds of topics. Like some of the stuff we were talking about here, we can carry on over. So it'll be really fun. And just remember too, that all of these sessions were recorded. So you'll be able to find them if you go back to that New Agent Bootcamp landing page, and you can go back and watch this. Cause I feel like you're going to want to come back and watch this too, because you're going to want to pause the screen, see those slides that they shared, get everything in line, and then keep going. So it's really good stuff. So I just want to say thank you so much, everyone. But thank you again, Jennifer and Robin. This is incredible for lending all of this expertise. And there's even more, all that podcast, all the stuff they offer. Check it out. You guys are amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. And again, keep that conversation going. Head over to the Travify Facebook group, and we're just getting started. We're only two sessions in. We still have more to go. So I'm excited. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jennifer and Robin. See you guys.
Bye. Thank you.